Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me for your 2 p.m. news and weather update. I'm Bailey Bockover. Before we get into your forecast and what's going on with Hurricane Erin, I know many of you are wondering what type of impacts we could be seeing as we inch closer to the storm, coming off our coast a little bit closer than it has. Let's take a look at a state shelter that is opening up in Warrenton for those Hurricane Erin evacuees. North Carolina Emergency Management says the pet-friendly shelter in Warrenton opened at 8 a.m. this morning. That's at the Warren County Parks and Recreation Building at 113 Wilcox Street. People using the shelter should bring necessities such as medications, important documents, and your emergency kit if you have one. If you are bringing a pet, please make sure to have any necessities for them as well. Now, that shelter is at your disposal if you need it. Once again, those mandatory evacuations are in place for a couple of coastal communities. If you haven't already found a place to go, that's a resource for you. But for now, double red flags are flying at a couple of locations along the coast, several beaches actually. Pine Knoll Shores Fire and EMS says their beach is closed for swimming. The town says going in the water with double red flags means you're putting yourself and first responders at risk. On the Outer Banks, Corolla, Nags Head, Kill Devil Hills, and Kitty Hawk, they also raised double red flags this morning, saying rip currents are life-threatening today. Other beaches are flying single red flags as tropical storm warning is in effect for the coast, and those current life-threatening rip currents will continue to be so throughout the week. This is not just today, this is through Friday. Instead, lifeguards will be patrolling the beach where passage is allowed. Guards will also be positioned at the beach ramps, and response will be by the roadways during high tide. Atlantic Beach has also taken down or pulled back its lifeguard towers. The town says it does not believe there will be restrictions on the bridge over the intercoastal waterway due to Erin. Hurricane Erin weakened to a Cat 2 storm this morning, but the impacts along the North Carolina coast are still expected to be significant with gusty winds and beach erosion. So just make sure that you're staying up to date, and you can stay up to date with us here on WITN. You can download our app, you can tune into our shows, you can tune into our streaming desk every hour. We are a resource for you to keep you safe. That's why we're here. So bringing some good news to light, Pamlico County Schools has honored the retirement of a woman who never missed a day in 29 years. Pamlico County Schools says Debbie Latham is retiring after not missing a single day for that many years, 29 of them. According to the county, Latham has served both as a school nutrition worker and a school bus driver. They said her unwavering commitment to her students was her work ethic. The school system says they'll miss Latham, but are excited to celebrate an earned retirement. I am sure many people that I know can't even go a month without missing a day. So 29 years is pretty impressive. You have to really love what you do for that. So well deserved. Well, now let's take a look at our Allen Road NCDOT project, Allen Road widening project that's set to go into place. The $61.7 million project was talked about in a town hall meeting last night. Our Charlene Richards has the details on that.
Allen Road in Greenville is one road that can get pretty busy during rush hour.
Allen Road is always congested in the afternoons. Early mornings, there are a lot of traffic. Late evening, there's a lot of traffic.
With just 2 lanes going in opposite directions, the North Carolina Department of Transportation and the City of Greenville has come up with a plan to widen 2.3 miles of Allen Road, from 2 lanes to 4 lanes, separated by concrete or medians, along with the option of U-turns to improve safety and traffic flow. It's a project NCDOT leaders say will reduce traffic congestion for drivers.
And it's going to increase the capacity along the road by adding a lane in each direction, and then we will also increase the mobility for the project, which will add sidewalk on both sides of the road to allow for pedestrian traffic up and down Allen Road.
The project will also add 5-foot bicycle lanes and a stoplight on Briarcliff Drive. Some residents voiced safety concerns about the option for median U-turns, with others inquiring about more stoplights and driving accessibility during construction. But Lane says he's in favor of the project entirely.
I support the project. I think the project would be good for traffic and people getting to work. I'm just looking forward to the project being completed.
And once again, that was Charlene Richards reporting on the Allen Road widening project set to go into place. And Greenville Chamber of Commerce hosts a legislative breakfast for lawmakers to hear from the community that happened this morning. Topics like healthcare, education, economic development, they were at the forefront of attendees' minds this morning. Pitt County community members, elected officials, and business owners met this morning at the 2025 legislative breakfast. State Representative Glorstein Brown says that she was here to listen, here to learn, and up for those constituents. Those are her greatest concerns, to hear from them and know what they are in need of. Well, now let's take a look at our forecast with First Alert meteorologist Russell James. He's here with us, getting ready.
A lot to talk about, especially regarding to the weather, and of course with Erin, we're watching that very closely as of right now. We do have First Alert weather days. Do want to touch on that and lead in with that going into Wednesday night and also into your Thursday for coastal impacts across eastern North Carolina. You see Erin there out in the distance, moving away from the east, but of course we have tropical storm warnings up from coastal Dare all the way down to down east Carteret County and over the coastal waters from Onslow County over into Dare County, and also including the Pamlico Sound as well. So mostly we're going to be concerned with sustained winds around 25 to 30 miles an hour, with occasional gusts topping out around 40 to 60 miles per hour. As for our storm surge alerts, we do have storm surge warnings from down east Carteret up and down the Outer Banks. Latest on Erin, as of the 2 o'clock advisory, winds have still is still around 105 miles per hour. Pressure 958 millibars. It's a little bit lower than it was earlier at 11 a.m. So there's a sign that the storm is at least maintaining its strength, and it's also made the turn now towards the northwest at 10 miles an hour. So at this point, Erin is making more of a northerly turn than a western turn. That is very important, especially with the track of Erin over the next 24 to 36 hours. And it looks like on the satellite picture too, Bailey, that storms are starting to reorganize right near the center. You see that big burst in activity right where the hurricane icon is, for the most part. As Erin continues to migrate its way towards the north and the east, eventually it'll make a very close approach towards eastern North Carolina as we head into Thursday morning. Here's a close look at that tropical satellite imagery. You definitely see the blossoming of the storm, so there are signs that Erin is starting to get its act together as it makes its way further off towards the north. There is still some wind shear bothering the northwestern part of the circulation, but when you look at the waves and buoy data, it doesn't matter. Even on the side where there's not much rain, the winds are still very strong. Sustained winds around 65 miles an hour. Wave heights up to 32 feet.
Yeah, that's one that I would not want to be near. I think our 10 to 15 feet, 15 to 20 feet that we could be seeing closer to our coast is lucky compared to what's going on.
Edge of like the outer wall. That means that within probably close to Erin, we're talking about 40, maybe 50-foot waves in some cases. Meanwhile, for us, the wave heights have been consistent around 7 to 10 off the coast, but notice that one buoy right there showing 14-foot waves. So the wave heights are steadily beginning to increase, and they will continue to do so as we go into Wednesday, especially Wednesday night. You see that lime green, that's when we're talking about 10 to 15 footers out there. And then as Erin gets very close to eastern North Carolina, we could see wave heights getting very close to 20, maybe 25 feet over the open waters of the Atlantic. But just goes to show you how track dependent this system is. It's a great news that the storm will remain 200 to 300 miles offshore. Of course, we wish that it could be farther offshore, but this is the best case scenario, especially given the setup that we have in place. And even going into Thursday evening, once the winds begin to shift out of the north and west, notice the waves beginning to decrease there along the Crystal Coast and the southern Outer Banks, and then that blue, that's what we like to see there, especially going into Saturday afternoon. Wave heights should decrease enough on the Crystal Coast. For those of you thinking about going towards the coastline on Saturday for any plans, you should be good. However, the Outer Banks still unsettled 6 to 10 foot waves. And of course, those waves crashing ashore is going to lead to some problems, even some flooding, especially along Highway 12. So 2 to 4 foot inundation along the Outer Banks and even along parts of the Sounds and also along the Crystal Coast. And so again, that'll be right around in tandem of also what's happening in the area with the stronger winds as well as we go into Wednesday evening. And again, still holding steady 20 miles an hour further inland, closing near 40 up to 50 miles an hour. And when I tell you it is a close call, Bailey, literally you go roughly 100 miles offshore. When you get into that red and pink, you're talking about wind speeds at or above hurricane force.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Very scary.
Yep. So that'll start to subside as we go into Thursday evening. Friday morning, we'll start to see winds beginning to decrease. And this is just an overall summary for those of you that are just joining now in terms of the rip current potential. So while we're watching that, 2 systems in the Atlantic, both of which not a concern towards eastern North Carolina for right now. We'll watch it closely. One has a 30% chance, other one has a 60% chance across the area. Closer to home, not looking too bad. Temperature sitting at 82. Still very humid, feeling 92. Outside temperatures, upper 70s, low to middle 80s. And as we go through the rest of the evening, we'll see temperatures going from the 80s down into the middle 70s. And looking at your 8-day forecast, we're going to be having temperatures generally sitting into the 80s over the coming days, overnight lows 60s, low 70s.
Yeah, looking nice, and I'm sure the clouds are helping.